What's the rule? What's going on up there?
No, that's the ice baths.
Oh, we thought it might have been a debut of sorts.
That's pretty normal. They're nuts, mate. They're nuts.
You got any selection news for us?
I won't have a lot, unfortunately, because we're about to go in and we've still got a couple of players a little bit up in there as well, but pretty confident they'll be okay. So Butts didn't train. You would have noticed Barry didn't train, but both of those guys are really coming off just lightening their weeks, and we expect both should be okay for the weekend.
How's Darcy Fogarty looking?
Darcy won't play this week, so I can give you that one. That was, I think I've sort of mentioned it the whole way along. It's going to be one we err on conservative, so we'll continue to do that. We go into a Thursday night game next week. We're now going to look at that and sort of work towards that with Darcy. But he's moving well. His comments to me today were, I'm electric. Not sure he was quite electric today, but he's progressing well. Just no risk in that one.
How's Paddy Barnell going?
So Paddy's not eligible this week, unfortunately. So everyone progresses through the protocol slightly differently. He doesn't come out till Saturday, so he'll be eligible for next week, unfortunately. And that's reasonably regular. It changes depending on who that person is. So we'll look forward to him being up for selection next week.
Does Barry have to do anything this year?
Yeah, Bez is working on a few things in his game, so his form's probably not quite where it needs to be, but he's also got a little bit of soreness this week, as a lot of players have. So him not training was really around the body, making sure we can get that right. But then Bez is also working on some of his game as well.
So if he's fit, does he play?
That'll be something we'll decide on this afternoon.
Yeah.
What's best for him. We also go into a 5-day break next week, and then a 10-day break after that. So we've got to factor a fair bit of that in when it comes to selection for this week. We want to go out and do whatever we can to win the game of footy this week, play our best side we possibly can, but be aware of what's coming on a 5-day break as well.
Who comes in for Pedler?
We haven't decided that one yet, but I guess the positive thing is the guys that we've brought in so far, we've brought in on form. I mentioned that last week. Murphy came in and Scholl came in. These guys have come in and played, continued that really good SANFL form at AFL level. And so we feel we've got guys that are knocking on the door still down at SANFL. Ned McHenry's one, who I can, right off the top of my head, can think about. He's probably playing some of his best football at SANFL level, which is similar to what Lockie Murphy was doing. It was a hard conversation with those guys. I'm playing my best footy I've ever played, but I'm not in the side. Great for the footy club, great for the squad. And so this week there'll be an opportunity there with Pedler out. Not sure which way we'll go just yet.
Harry Schronberg as well, 34 disposals, 3 goals in Stanford. Is he a viable replacement perhaps?
Definitely viable, yeah. Shonny went out last week from the AFL side and we asked him to go and work on a few things and he did that. So real positive for him that he was able to go and get some confidence back, build back into his game. And so he's put his hand up and said, well, I'm ready to come back and play if you need me.
It's always easier to strut around Adelaide after a showdown win. How's the week been for you and the boys up and about?
The weeks are pretty short for us. Not a lot of strutting. We're straight onto Freo. We come up against a side that last year were right up towards the top, still are. They limit score against. It's going to be a really challenging game for us, and they found some form last week. So we move on really quickly. We want to review. We want to get things right that we didn't get right, and we've done that now for 3 weeks. We're 1 and 2. We come off a good win, so we built some confidence and some belief in what we have been doing now for 3 weeks, but we weren't getting results. But we come up against a very good opponent this week, so that's the focus.
What pleased you most out of the win?
I thought we finished the game off. It's something we've been working on all off-season. The ability to close a game out when the opportunity's there for us to win it. We've done that now 1 out of 3 this year. I thought we'd probably had our chance in all 3 games. There was an opportunity for us to close it out and get the win, and we didn't do it. So on the weekend to finish like we did and kick 5 or 6 of the last goals, run the game out strongly, and I thought it was across the board. The most pleasing part was there wasn't a standout for us that, when we talk showdown medal, there's a lot of talk around at the moment, and Geordie's one who's happy to talk about it. It was so pleasing that it was such an even effort across the board. we were really pleased with our group and the way they went about it.
I guess Fremantle are also coming off a win against their crosstown rivals. How do you continue to kind of push your tempo and kind of dispel theirs at the same time, considering they're riding that same high?
Yeah, well, we always have a lot of respect for Alpo, so we want to know what it is we've got to bring to, I guess, beat them at their game, and how do we get the game onto our terms. And that's, we trained that today. We'll continue to look through that. We have a captain's run where we fine-tune a lot of that. And they have some weapons. They've got some things that we're going to have to counter. But we also look at how we're playing, and we'd like to think that they're going to have to adjust slightly for the way we play our footy. So we'll continue to work on that. We've got a lot of things we still need to get better at. There's not enough time in the week for us to prepare, but especially when you go into a 5-day break the week after. But our heads are down. We're looking forward to another big challenge.
Srong's getting a lot of footy. Are you expecting to tag him?
Look, it is an option. He's a fantastic footballer. He's very, very dangerous. He comes off a big week last week. We'll look at that. Do we need to do that as a team? Is it something an individual can do? But we're not locked in. As I said, we're still selecting our side, and then we'll fine tune what we do as far as Oppo go, especially individuals, a little bit later.
You can't make too many changes off a side that come off such a good win. Really, you only really force changes you're haggling over. No.
Yeah, look, it's only really we enforced with Pedler out of the side, so we'll have to make a decision there, and that sometimes moves the deck chairs a little. We're just going to make a few changes, but overall we were really pleased, as I said, across the board. We'd like to stay consistent with that. We had some really good cohesion there on the weekend, so we don't want to lose that, and that'll affect the decision of who comes in.
You tell me what the word is now that you're not sort of over-reliant on Taylor. A bit of the burden's been lifted on him as a forward. How do you react to the other guys stepping up and carrying the load up forward?
Yeah, over-reliance probably not the word. I think Tex still plays a really important role. It's probably just not necessarily the dominance he had last year, where he's hitting the scoreboard, continuously each game. But he's competing for us. He takes the best defender every week, and so he should, because if you don't do that, then he can expose you. So he's playing a really important role for us. There are others that are standing up, which is a real bonus for us. I thought Riley on the weekend showed that he has a presence forward when we give him an opportunity, and he really went at the footy. So that was a real positive for us. Lockie Gallant came in and, similar to Tex, just played a role when he was needed. That brings in guys like Isaac Rankin and Josh Shelley when he's down there, and Luke Pedler, I thought, is playing an important role for us. We'll miss him, but Lockie Murphy's come in and stepped into that role as well. So our forward line isn't relying on one player, but Tex is important to the mix down there.
And that was sort of my point, is that when he doesn't kick five, someone else does.
Yeah.
He still competes and drags players away to create space for other guys. Is that the next evolution for your team? Do you think the next step?
I think we've always been in that. We've always been in that space. I guess everyone's the focus has been on Tex, and I think we've felt as a group that Tex has done a lot more than just hit the scoreboard. When Tex is kicking five, there's more to it than that. At the moment, he's not necessarily the one knocking it through the sticks. I hope we can have a day where he's kicking another five again, and maybe Riley's doing all the contests around the ground. But at this point, he's playing an important part of what is that forward line.
You've seen Phil Thorpe up close. A lot of talk about why was he ever left out. Clearly he had to develop, but is that as good as you've seen from him now? Does that really excite you, what he was able to do on the weekend?
Look, he continues to improve. So yeah, I think we're going to see something better and better from him week in, week out. He's just building his game. He's only just scratching the surface. We've seen him at a lower level perform in the same way. He was able to dominate an SANFL game 2 weeks earlier. His training went to another level. We feel like he's done a lot of work on more than just his footy, and he got reward for that on the weekend. So yeah, we'd like to think we'll continue to see his best. Whether that was it on the weekend, he had a really strong game, but it might be in other areas. It's an exciting time for him and for the footy club of where he's at. Yeah.
Given that strong game, do you think we will see increased attention on him this weekend?
We got no doubt. I guess the better a play, the better he goes as an individual, the more attention the opposition often have that next week, and he deserves that attention. That then comes back to our forward line of what does that do for someone like Tex. what does that do for someone like Gallant? How do the opposition come in and match up on us? But we hope then the next player's able to step up and play their role at an important time.
Is your depth the best it's been since you've been at the club?
Look, you'd have to say our squad is as strong as it's been since I've been at the club. Our SNFL performances at the moment have been consistent and at a very high level. And so, as I mentioned before, we've got a number of players. In fact, we've got a lot of players who are probably hand up ready, saying I can play AFL level if you need me. So that's the strength of our squad at this point. Even with a few guys out for different reasons, whether that's suspension or whether that's injury, we've got guys coming in good form. So it's a sign of a strong squad. Yeah.
How did you go Saturday night after the win? Is there a sense of relief for a coach? I mean, no one wants to start zip 3. Of course, it's a crosstown rival. The chatter about where are the Crows at? It sort of silences for a few days or a week or so. Saturday night, did you sort of drive home with a grin, thinking, "Oh, it's cross for that"? Is there a bigger picture in the relief there? You know what I mean? Rather than just the win itself, bigger.
I think we all look. Everyone enjoys winning, but there's an outside noise and there's an inside noise. We felt like we had great momentum so far in the season, and it's disappointing to be 0-2. And you're thinking, well, if we lose another one, it's 0-3. There's no doubt that the outcomes, they pile up and the noise becomes deafening from outside. But internally, we knew we were doing a lot of things right, and so the win's probably more of a belief it's a reinforcement of belief. It's it's giving you that commitment on we're on the right track. We're getting things right. There's things we've still got to improve in. But so as a coach, I do smile after those because I know from a group's point of view, we come out of it with more positive momentum and a feeling of, okay, we're getting it right, but we're 1-2. And now there's no talk about us at all. Well, it's one win. We've got to get another win now. We've got to play Fremantle, and that's something we haven't done in previous years, is string together, 2, 3, 4 wins. And so that's our challenge, and we just keep our heads down. It doesn't change internally. We haven't changed anything from what we did round 1, 2, after one win.